It's titled, Am I the Asshole for Telling My Non-Binary Husband to Change His Clothes?
It's a lot to unpack. I mean, like, there's like navigating the world as a queer person is not easy. And I think that I and a lot of people, more so than me, like who don't have some of the privileges that I do, like are confronted with this issue of, am I going to make myself more palatable and sacrifice my personhood in many ways? Or am I going to exist exactly how I want to and face the consequences of that? For trans people, queer people, non-binary people, like feeling comfortable in your expression, like your mode of expression, your identity, like the things you wear, and like feeling personally validated is like life or death. And we see that in like statistics like of like mental health and suicide rates among queer people, that like it's not just about like I want to wear the pretty thing because it makes me feel pretty. It's about I want to wear this because it makes me feel like a person. And if I'm not dressing the way that is an extension of my identity, I feel like dysphoric, like out of my body, inhuman. And also like, I don't know. The big thing here is that like, it's understandable to be like, I'm really worried about this because they need to get this job. But if you're entering this space and they don't accept you on the basis of, oh, I'm wearing glitter and I'm, not only is like, why would you want to have that job in the first place, but you won't be able to retain that job unless you continue to mute yourself. And now you're basically pigeonholing your partner into a job and a life, which is, one of the precedents of it is that you have to have gender dysphoria.
Yeah, and not be yourself. Am I the asshole for yelling at a woman after she wasn't behaving and making my job harder? I work in phlebotomy and I like my job despite some of the craziness that happens, like what I'm about to share. So it's pretty shocking and funny how many people say that they are terrified of needles. I mean, these include grown men, and whenever they come to the lab and I need to take their blood, they're always sweaty, shaky, some of them cry, feel faint, all over a little poke. These are adults. Shouldn't they have gotten over it by now? It can be pretty frustrating when some sit there and cry / overreact before / during / after the procedure, because it just makes my job a lot harder, especially during the aftermath of a pandemic. Plus, it is really annoying and I kind of just want to yell at them to grow the hell up, which is kind of what happened today. So this young woman came in and she was already teary-eyed. I mean, this was before I even asked her to confirm her name. She was sitting down, palms clammy, breathing weirdly, so already she's working herself up for no reason. I'm getting my supplies ready, and then she tells me that she's really scared of needles. And then she goes on and on about how she cries whenever she's near a needle, that she feels sick to her stomach, etc. I told her point blank that she's just working herself up over nothing and she needs to stop. Otherwise, it's going to make my job a lot harder. She begins to try and take deep breaths, but the tears are still flowing. Now she's starting to get on my nerves. Nonetheless, I begin to prep.
Oh, poor woman.
She then stops me and asks me to 1, give me a minute so that she can compose herself, 2, not show her any of my supplies / prep my equipment because that would supposedly make her more, quote, anxious.
It would.
The later was laughable because I have to have my supplies near me in order to draw blood in the first place. So I don't know where her brain came up with that. I had had enough. I looked at her and said, quote, look, are you going to behave yourself and let me do my job or not? If not, get out and stop wasting my time.
Ooh. Keep going. Keep going. This is painful, but keep going.
She began to cry harder and said that she didn't mean to make me mad. She was just really terrified of needles.
Yes.
I told her, quote, yes, I heard you the first time. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? You're acting like a toddler.
Isn't this person in healthcare, like, tasked to take care of people?
Then this woman says to me that the reason why she let me know that she was scared was because she wanted me to be gentle and comforting.
Yes.
My God, these people are so entitled.
Not entitled.
I asked her, quote, what do you think I am, your mother? My job isn't to coddle you and rock you to sleep. It's to take blood. If you can't act your age to even do that, then leave. She got up, still crying, had the audacity to call me sick, and then left. So I was on my lunch break, and then a coworker approached me and said that I treated that woman horribly.
Yes.
I told him that I was just trying to get my job done.
Nope.
He said that I shouldn't even be taking care of people if I'm going to, quote, act like this.
Yep.
And that I should pray that she doesn't file a complaint. What? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Wow. Okay. So let's see what Reddit thinks. Am I the asshole?
Yes, you're an absolute asshole. Oh my gosh.
Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend that he can't have girlfriends? I'm 22 and my boyfriend's 27. He's a finance bro. He comes from a rich, white, privileged family and always gets exactly what he wants, which included me. Grew up in a low-income household and my parents are immigrants. Family and I are really tight. Him and his family, on the other end, they barely speak to each other. Met at a party and he asked me out and I said yes. Before that, I had never hung out with anybody who had money, so him taking me out to dinners, his family's yacht, and on trips was an entirely different world for me. I quickly realized that it was always going to be his way. We always go eat where he wants to. We always hang out with whoever he wants to hang out with. Don't get me wrong, he is considerate and sweet and loving. We threw a party for his best friend's birthday on his yacht, and an old friend of his showed up to the party. This girl was just like him, rich, white, and got everything she wanted. But her and I actually did make friends that day. But then she started wanting to hang out with my boyfriend by themselves. He told me he was going to have breakfast with her, and I asked him why he wouldn't take me. That's when he said that they just wanted to catch up. Told him it made me uncomfortable, but he went to breakfast anyway. Said we should have friends of the opposite sex. Should I break up with him?
Am I the asshole for asking my brother to pay $3,000 for my engagement ring? I decided to host a family dinner over the weekend, and my brother brought my nephews 4 and 8 over as well. I used to wear my engagement ring all the time, but lately I keep it in my walk-in closet and wear it for special occasions. While I was cleaning the dinner table, my nephews went to go play while the adults were still in the outdoor patio area. Mind you, my brother was not supervising his kids. So during this time, my nephews went into the master bedroom with no one knowing and started playing with everything, including my engagement ring. When we eventually came to look for them, they panicked because they knew they weren't supposed to be upstairs, so they ran into the master bathroom and flushed my ring. Am I the asshole for asking my brother to pay $3,000 for my engagement ring? You heard me right, my brother's kids flushed my engagement ring. We called a plumber in case it was somehow in the U-trap of the toilet and not actually gone, but nope. Unfortunately, it was gone for good. We still had the original receipt, so I called my brother and emailed him a scanned copy as proof of the cost. I asked him to reimburse me for the ring my nephew flushed, and immediately he started calling me an a-hole because we're family and he was just a child. So he's refused to repay the cost of my ring, and I told him I'll be taking him to court for this, and now my entire family is blowing up my phone. Am I wrong?
So today's secret comes from Sophie. Hi, Annabelle and team. My parents have been married for 36 years, and I have a secret that's eating me up inside. I was staying at my parents' place a few months ago, and when I got up for a glass of water in the middle of the night, I saw that my mum was in tears and my dad was storming out of the house. My mum told me it's over. I asked her, "What? What's over?" "Us." "Why?" "Affair." "Who?" "Your dad with Ella."
Ooh.
Ella's my best friend's name, so this is
Oh.
Ella,
What
dare
a
you?
floozy.
Classic.
Sorry, Ella.
Well, Ella is actually an ex-neighbor of my parents and is close enough to me in age that she could be my sister.
Oh my lord,
no.
I know a story like this.
Oh no.
Ugh.
The story came out that my dad had been having an affair for nearly a year and mum had known for several months. Months of him deciding he wants to be with my mum, then the next day telling my mum he's leaving her for this younger woman. When my dad returned home the next morning, I told him in very explicit language that I didn't want to be anywhere near him. I was disgusted by him. He went to stay at a motel for the rest of the week, and I stayed with my mum, consoling her and helping her make plans to leave him. At the time, she hadn't told anyone, and she asked me not to tell anyone. I told my brother with her reluctant permission, and he came to visit to be there to support. Here's the secret that's eating me up though. Against her wishes, I told my uncle, my mum's brother, about the affair.
What? That seems random.
Yeah.
Of all people, the uncle?
Just got him on speed dial when the affair happens.
My logic was that my mum was going to need family support, and as much as we love her, my brother and I can't be the only people responsible for that. We have lives of our own. I told him to swear not to tell her he knows, but just to lend support when she does tell him. The thing is, my dad returned and my mum decided to stay with him.
No.
They're back playing happy families, much to the disappointment of my brother and I. We really wish she had left my dad. My dad plays golf with my uncle every Friday, and they spend time together socially quite often. My mum would be mortified if she knew that I told him everything, and I live in fear that after a few drinks one day he'll ask her about it. Am I a bad person for betraying my mum's trust and telling my uncle? At the time, I was sure she was going to leave my dad, and I thought that keeping it a secret meant that she had no one to back her up and take her side. Before I found out, only she and my dad knew. Also, should I tell her that he knows so that he can stop with this whole facade, pretending that everything is completely fine?